So let's talk about something that I think a lot of us have felt. You ever look at your life, all the success, all the things you've built, and still wonder why some part of you feels, well, stuck? Today, we're going to get to the bottom of that. We're going to unpack the real reason you can't seem to change, even when everything on the outside looks just about perfect.
It is such a weird and frustrating feeling, isn't it? I mean, you've built companies, you've earned respect, you have genuine, real confidence in your abilities. But then, in those quiet moments, or when a certain kind of pressure hits, this other version of you just pops out. It's like this younger, more vulnerable self is pulling the levers from behind the scenes.
And right here, Dr. K just hits the nail on the head. See, the problem isn't your life right now. The issue is that the kid, that collection of old wounds, old beliefs, is still in there. And no amount of success you stack on top of it is ever going to make it disappear.
Okay, so let's actually dig into this ghost, right? This past self that's still driving so much of our behavior, even when we're supposed to be at the top of our game.
What's so wild about this is how you can have two completely different realities happening at the exact same time. On the outside, you see it. Huge success, multiple companies, financial freedom. But the internal monologue, that's a whole different story. It's that voice in your head asking, why am I still pushing this hard? It's that gut feeling that you're constantly running away from a version of yourself you swore you'd never be again.
And I really want to be clear here. This isn't just you being dramatic or feeling insecure. Dr. K points out this is literal brain science. Those big, formative, and often painful experiences from our past, they create deep neuronal pathways. They are actual scars in your brain. You can build a whole skyscraper on top of them, but the cracks in the foundation, they're still there.
So this leads us to this, just massive misunderstanding about self-improvement. We all tend to think that if we just add more good stuff into our lives, the bad stuff will kind of fade away. But as we're about to see, that is not at all how healing works. All right, just for a second, I want you to picture this really simple image. Your life, your mind, your consciousness, it's like a clear glass of water. And what do we usually do? Our go-to strategy is to just keep adding things to the glass. We chase more success, we look for more praise, we pile on more and more accomplishments. We're basically just trying to sweeten the drink, right? And boom, there it is. This quote is blunt, for sure, but it is so powerful because it gets to the core of the problem. If there's a negative element in there, a trauma, a core wound, the piss in the water, adding sugar doesn't get rid of it. It just makes sweet piss. The two things are totally separate. Adding good stuff does not remove the bad stuff.
Let me put it another way. Imagine you have a broken leg. You can't fix it by getting stronger arms, right? I mean, building up your bench press is awesome, but it does absolutely nothing for the actual injury in your leg. Healing your mind works the same way. You have to do targeted work on the specific wound.
Okay, so if just adding more and more stuff isn't the answer, then what is? Well, it all comes back to the story you tell yourself about who you are.
See, our identity isn't just a list of personality traits. It's a story. And that story is built on a timeline made up of our most emotionally charged moments. I mean, think about it for yourself. The moments that really defined you, good or bad, were always packed with emotion. And this is absolutely crucial. If our identity is built on emotion, then changing that identity requires new emotional experiences. This is exactly why numbing ourselves with work, with TV, with scrolling makes real change feel impossible. Neuroscience tells us you literally can't rewire your sense of self without letting yourself feel. And this internal story, this identity, it has very, very real consequences in the outside world. If you believe, deep down in your bones, that you're not good enough, you will subconsciously act in ways that confirm that belief. And what's fascinating is that other people's brains will actually pick up on that and treat you that way. Yeah, this isn't some fluffy self-help idea. This is science. The empathic circuits in other people's brains literally detect the identity that you are projecting out into the world. So who you believe you are directly shapes your reality. That's why changing that internal belief is the single most powerful thing you can do to change your future. Okay, so we need to address the actual wound, not just add sugar. And we need to change our core identity. So how in the world do we actually do that? Well, the answer is going to sound completely backwards, especially if you're a high achiever. This right here is the trap. You tell a driven person to go relax and heal, and what do? They turn healing into their next big project to crush. They'll book the flight to Bali, but instead of just being there, they're now working on healing.
The very thing that's supposed to be the solution becomes just another version of the problem, another goal, another way to keep running.
So what is the real solution? It's going to sound ridiculous, but here it is. You have to learn to waste your time. And I don't mean productively wasted. I mean genuinely, truly do nothing.
Now this is what wasting time actually means. It means sitting still long enough for all the internal chaos to finally come to the surface. Because when you stop running, you finally get to see what you've been running from. And it is a zoo in there. All the thoughts, the anxieties, the drives that you normally keep at bay with constant distraction.
And here's the cool neuroscience behind why this actually works. The part of your brain that's responsible for willpower, it's called the anterior cingulate cortex, is also the part that just monitors internal conflict. So you know that feeling when you're wrestling with a decision, like one part of you wants fried chicken and the other says you shouldn't? That little tug-of-war you feel? That is your anterior cingulate cortex lighting up. It's the part of you that is simply aware of the struggle. Which leads to this incredible conclusion. The act of simply being aware is the same thing as exerting willpower. They are the same function in the brain. When you are truly aware of your impulses, you gain control over them. But when you're just running on autopilot, you have no control at all. And Dr. K believes this isn't just a small piece of the puzzle, it's pretty much the whole thing. He says he's gone from thinking awareness is maybe half the problem to now believing it's 90%. The vast majority of our issues really just stem from a lack of awareness of what's going on inside of us.
So the ultimate takeaway here is that the solution isn't another action plan or another checklist or another goal to achieve. The solution is to stop, to watch, to become aware. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. What might actually become possible in your life if you finally gave yourself permission to stop doing and just started being?